This Brown County Commission meeting to order as of December 24th, 2019. Commissioner Kipley, would you lead us to the pledge, please?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item on our agenda, we have the second reading, ordinance 152.
We need to take roll call with him on telephone.
Okay. And we have also 153 for possible adoption.
We'll go ahead and take roll call since we have some people on teleconference. Commissioner Fikey?
Thank you.
Aye.
Commissioner Sutton? He is absent. Commissioner Weeks?
Aye.
He is here teleconference. Commissioner Kipley?
Here.
And Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
I guess we took attendance. So now we'll do the ordinances. We have ordinance 152. This is second reading, application by Nick Burbis. He's looking to go from Agricultural Preservation District to Mini Ag, and the legal address is Lot 1, Burbis Subdivision, in the south half of the southwest quarter of Section 35, T124 North, R64W, at 6 p.m. in Brown County.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Piker, second by Kipley to adopt the ordinance 152. All in favor, you gotta do this by
Roll call, everything.
roll call.
Commissioner Fikert?
Aye.
Commissioner Sutton is absent. Commissioner Weeks?
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley?
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted. We have ordinance 153. This one is applicant Roger Gray. He's looking to move from Agricultural Preservation District to Lakefront Residential District. The legal address is Lot 2C of Lot 2, Schaefer Richmond Lake Subdivision, in the northwest quarter of Section 25, T124 North, R65W, at 6 p.m. in Brown County.
I move 153.
Second. Moved by Kipley, second by Piker. We'll have to have a...
Yep, and we'll do a roll call vote. Fikert?
Aye.
Sutton is absent. Weeks?
Aye.
Kipley?
Aye.
Feldheim?
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, we have the public hearing on budget supplement.
Anyone here to speak on the budget supplement? Sounds good?
Hot item.
Always a hot topic. Because nobody knows they can't do anything about it, the way it is.
It was a few
Can I
nights
take
ago.
another peek?
Just to be clear for the public, this authorizes up to those amounts, but not those amounts specifically, right?
Yes, a lot of those departments are currently over budget the amount on this sheet.
Correct. Thank you.
Move it.
Second. Moved by Kipley, second by Fikert, to approve the budget supplements, and this will be a roll call vote also. Because of the...
I believe everything will be roll call.
Yep.
Mike?
You want me to do that, or do you normally do that?
Well, I don't know, this is the first time.
Do you have any advice for us? Is it, because it seems odd if I do it, because then I'm asking myself to do it, so I would think I'd have to have a party outside myself
I'll
doing
just
it.
do all the roll calls.
Okay.
Spend 100, might as well let her keep going.
Fikert?
Aye.
Sutton is absent. Weeks?
Aye.
Kipley?
Aye.
Feldheim?
Aye.
Budget supplements are approved.
Next item. We have Troy McClellan, discussion on our county seal project. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Kathy had sent out a request for proposal, a couple of months ago, weeks ago, about a seal for the county, and I was very excited about that. I love to do logos, I love to do seals, and I shot her a pretty high price because I could imagine working with a commission of the public and staff that it would take quite a long time to develop something. So, and she said that was probably not in the budget this time, so I decided I would just like to donate that to the county and just do it because I'm very excited about the project, and I've had just tremendous support from the county's various offices, the assessor, the museum, on research guidance for Aberdeen Magazine. So I want to do it as a way just to give back to the county and give it an identity that it probably hasn't had specifically for over 100 years. So Kathy suggested I come here and just chat with you guys to see if there are any things top of mind that you guys think of when you think of the county that should be incorporated into the seal. I just did a quick little one to kind of whet the appetite to get going, but she said, well, there's lots of different icons that could be included that represent the history, the progress, any aspects of the county, and so she suggested we just come and just have a quick little chat about feelings, thoughts, ideas on it.
Is that the current seal there, Troy, on the flag?
I've never seen it before.
We don't have an actual county seal, but we do have this county flag. But there's no documentation of a seal that's been uniformly used, and I don't know. This is a starting point too. We have this hanging in front of the courthouse and the courtyard as well.
When we saw how much it could cost to create a logo, one of the commissioners pulled the flag out and said, "Hey, look it, we already got one. That's
Right.
you know, you owe me $5,000,
I know,
whatever."
right?
When you design those, Troy, does that take you a long time to put something like that together?
Oh yeah, this probably took 4 or 5 hours alone, and I already had the courthouse done from a previous project. I just noodle things to death. But you know, if we want to, you look at the state seal. I mean, it's very complicated. There's a guy cutting soil. There's the river. There's industry. And I don't like to get that detailed, but it'd be a good challenge if you guys think that we need to represent a broad swath of
Being involved in agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be nice if there was something that would,
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be wheat or cattle or something that would,
Yeah.
Maybe we can just put a cow on top of the courthouse.
Yeah, there you go. A cow jumping over the moon or
I
something.
believe it was 2008, Brown County was the largest producer of corn in the nation.
Was it really?
So, and that hasn't repeated itself, but yeah,
Yeah.
some type
Yeah.
of an egg.
Mhm.
Inclusion.
And I like the history of how Aberdeen got big and
The hub.
Mhm.
City with
the
train.
railroads coming through and
Right.
Let's make sure we speak up for Mike.
Oh yeah.
Let's make sure we speak loud enough for Mike to hear.
Can you hear us, Mike? Mike, are you with us?
he's napping anyway. Mike.
Mike.
I don't know what happened to Mike.
We lost Mike. Mike, you're not on the mic.
No, I'm here. I'm here in conversation.
Okay.
Oh, you heard everything we said about you then. Oh shoot.
But no, that's good. We don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth either, so.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make it too complicated for you.
Oh yeah, it's a good challenge though too. What about the railroads? I mean, is that important to incorporate like trucks or trains or?
Well, we know it was early coming across Brown County, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts, Mike?
I like what Troy submitted. I think they're all good ideas and feedback and so forth. It's just, and Troy knows this as well as anybody, you want to keep it as simple as possible because it would likely get used in a variety of sizes from relatively large to fairly small. So you don't want, things to get lost in the details. You want to keep it as simple as possible. And all of the different things that you could symbolize, but especially for the county, the courthouse is pretty much synonymous with the identity of Brown County.
If we put it out for comments to the public on social media, I'm sure you'd get
Oh,
some.
yeah.
Look out.
I don't know whose page we
Look
put
out.
that on. I know Kathy's got a page.
If, we can certainly do that if you're interested.
Just a thought. I'm sure that people have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, the internet usually has an opinion or two.
It
So.
does.
It would probably take us 6 months to go through all the
Right.
information we're going to get.
Yeah.
And then when you don't pick it, there.
Well, it
just
depends
like
on how much
Troy.
you want to put into it. If you like that one, I think, Like,
really?
or if you wanted to come up with 2 or 3 of your favorite options, and we could post them and have people give their input, or...
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
Patty, have you got any from the museum side of things? I mean, anything you can think
Well,
of?
absolutely, we are a railroad town and a railroad county. That's what Ford does.
Right.
But I would also add that, we have one of the best county fairs
That's true.
around.
Right?
We're highly successful there. And
That's
I
true.
think people come to our fair from other counties. So
Good point.
that's another, and it kind of incorporates all of our, agricultural and industrial and tech. Don't forget that.
Right.
Don't forget,
Okay.
we're producing a lot of wind here too.
That's true. Okay. Good.
Maybe we can have a little track going by the courthouse, going out to the fair with a little corn on one side, soybeans on the other side, and you get Ferris wheel.
That's like interactive.
People would wonder, what's going on here?
Well, what seal is on your cup there, Kathy?
Oh, you guys fans of Parks and Rec, the TV show?
Oh.
It's for Pawnee, Indiana. It's like my favorite show, so
That's awesome.
I like it.
Wow. Okay. Oh, and did we establish this, established date was 1880? or-
Yeah, the first minutes entry, setting the first county commission was a Tuesday in 1880.
Wow.
Meeting on Tuesdays ever since. It's pretty crazy.
You know what time that was?
8:45. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm working on a magazine story about communities and when they were established and trying to find exact times of when their meetings were that they made those. Everything's hard to find, but I narrowed it down to AM, PM.
Well,
Yeah.
your contribution is great for the county, and, we don't want to put you through a number of hours of work just to get an idea. I think you've got, I like your plan there, but I think, maybe probably incorporate just a little something more.
I
But
agree, yeah.
I don't know where you want to, I'm not an artsy person, so I'd probably get lost when you need to ask.
No? Kathy, anything you want specifically included? Any
No,
verbiage?
nothing specifically. I just think it's a pretty cool project.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. And we don't have a county slogan or creed or anything.
Mission statement?
Mr. Brown never set foot in the county ever.
Last county to be named.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I suppose you can put Brown County where things happen.
well, if anybody has any thoughts later on, just shoot me an email and I'll just keep working on it.
Sounds great.
It's really fun.
Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for that. Appreciate your offer and your
Oh,
kindness.
I appreciate everything that
Thank you.
Patty's office and the assessor's office does for me. We come up with some great stories for the magazine with all their help. Appreciate that.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Yeah, Mayor.
Next item, we have Jean with the Director of Equalization, preliminary 2020 assessment plan.
Hey, Jean. You just walked by. Hi, how are you this morning?
We have you on the agenda for the 2020 assessment plan, Jean.
Hi, Russell.
Morning.
We have Commissioner Weiss on speakerphone.
Okay. Sounds like a good day to do it. Christmas Day, you guys are all happy and jolly, none of us are getting fired.
Yet anyway, huh?
Yeah,
Literally.
I emailed you a copy of that previous meeting.
Is it the same? Any changes?
Did you have another one for Kathy?
I've got the email copy.
I do too, yeah. but-
There's no changes, though?
No changes.
Okay, I printed one, too.
But I like paper copies.
I got one for Mike.
Thanks for getting it.
Okay, our state audit was here last Tuesday, 17th, went through all our books. Our ag was pretty much established as to where we were gonna be and all that kind of thing. We needed, looked at our non-ag sales quite a bit more seriously, and that's kind of really where our state audit amounts to now, is seeing where our non-ag is. Our ag is kind of done ahead of time as we go. Right now, going into 2020 assessments, everything is at full value, at full productivity value, nothing hanging over our heads. Everything's, all the issues are supposed to be done with. Parcel adjustments, still making parcel adjustments. We have roughly $150 million worth of parcel adjustments that we're making. About 29 million of soil specific, probably about close to another 100 million of parcel specific adjustments. I thought it'd probably run into a little more pushback on that, but sounds like they want to be done with dealing with adjustments with us. Usually most years I have to, they're okay with my soil specific, not really my parcel specific, but as we get our new soil surveys, new soil table in, and we're seeing that a lot of my adjustments appear to be justified looking at my old table versus my new table, I think this is all going to fly through pretty good. So yeah, I think egg stuff looks pretty decent. A little wetter year this year. Had 79 flooded farmland applications, up from 59 last year. You do have to qualify for 3 years being inundated before there's any reduction for flooded land, so probably most of these additional applications aren't going to see a reduction, but if it were to remain wet for an extended time, we could see some flooded farmland reductions somewhere down the line.
But it doesn't apply to pasture.
It does.
It does?
It does. Yep. If you have pasture land you can't get into, it can also be reduced to a 0.05 soil rating. If and that still would drop you down to the stuff that's getting flooded farmlands drops down to about $175 an acre. So it's a considerable.
How would you measure that?
That's
if you have a slough that all of a sudden it's flooded out over another 20 acres or more, how would you measure that?
Well, for the most part, the landowner will come in and map it out for us. We'll pull it up on our beacon or on Google Earth or things like that, and run our tape around it, measure it up, and give us our best guess. Whether it's 30 acres or 35 acres or 32 acres, we'll come to a point where you and I and our township board say, yeah, we're pretty close, and we'll run with it. But you can qualify on grassland acres. Top dollars, here again we're at full productivity. We're starting to see some of our bigger income years coming off the books. Our top dollar crop rate is actually going to go down 3.65% this year. Top dollar in 2020 crop rate is 34.8828, down from 36.2023. And I see the trend. Being crop rated soils is taking an 8-year Olympic average. So right now we're looking at our current assessment is based off of 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And 11, 12, and 13 are going to come off again over the next few years. Those are our 3 highest income years as far as crop rated soils. So I'm seeing a point where over the next 3 years those are going to drop out. If they're replaced by something that's relatively consistent to what we have, we'll probably see our top dollar crop value come down a little bit. I think we've plateaued and maybe going to see it shrink down a little bit over the next few years. Some good news for Christmas there. On the other side, non-crop rated is going to see a little bit of an increase. Again, about 3% there. Going from last year at 1601 per acre, 1601 top dollar to this year being 1655 top dollar. Again, that's about a 3% increase. There is some current legislation being recommended by the Ag Task Force that may look into how this is looked at a little bit. Maybe taking some commodities into play. I think you mentioned, I talked to Dennis a little bit about that, talking about some cow-calf things or some stuff that may come into play with economics or commodities that can be sold or things like that. Currently, non-crop rated soil is based on cash rent, and in some discussion with some folks around, it makes a lot of sense. Cash rent a lot of times is determined by the tax rate. If taxes go up, cash rent typically goes up, because that's one of the biggest expenses in owning cropland or grassland. So it might be a case where assessments go up because assessments go up, and that's not an ideal situation. We're not supposed to be the ones that cause changes in assessments. We're supposed to, the market or the economy or that kind of thing is. The assessor's office shouldn't be the one creating assessments. That's one of my opinions on this. I've kind of, put that out to some of the folks on task force, some folks that are on task force that are on the legislature right now. I don't know if they've heard that from anybody else or really taken it into account, but I think that is an issue that I think that bill that's going to come into play here in 2020 might take some of that into account and have a chance to relook at that again.
It isn't just the cattle market or the cow-calf either. It's hay market too.
It could be too, yeah.
Because there's a lot of acres out there too that are in hay production, and the hay market fluctuates too, somewhat according to what the cattle market is too. So
it's been, now that we're at full productivity, there's starting to be some look at how they want to tweak it or make it work or something like that. Once we're also seeing our new table coming in, we're seeing, for instance, our county's going from 169 soil types to 292 soil types. So to that end, also have some leverage as far as, these adjustments we've been making appear to be relatively justified, which again is, I think, why when revenue came in, and they're kind of going to just let me do what I'm going to do with my adjustments this year, which kind of surprised me. Like I said, most years I kind of have some pushback. This year they're kind of like, let's just leave that alone for a little bit. And actually to the point where they're trying to get other counties to take a look at their soil surveys and see if there's some adjustments that need to be made and are allowed to be made. And actually, they want to reword the wording in 10.6.33.31 from may adjust properties to shall adjust properties, kind of putting some more emphasis on local equalization directors to do some local assessment as opposed to it all coming from the state. So in the long run, we might have had some messy things going in our county, but I think it's kind of changed how the state looks, or how the revenue looks at the state as a whole. And I think we've been kind of vindicated on what we've done, not neighborhood-wise, but on a parcel-by-parcel basis, and letting our local township boards have some input into it. And to that end, I think I feel pretty good about that. Looking at our adjustments, a worksheet here. Like I said, we've taken just about $130 million worth of local adjustments. After that's done and put back in, we're going to have to be assessed at pretty much an average of $2,068 per acre across Brown County. Our target is $21.97 per acre. By the time we put our adjustments back in, we're at $21.98 per acre. We're right at 100%. Looks like we will have a 0.85 equalization factor, and that's the target. That's the number we're shooting for. We're pretty good to go there. Here again, like I said, I'm pretty sure that when I send this in, it'll all be approved, and that's where we're gonna land. And so we're kinda good to go there.
So Gene, when we talk real life application, you know, in 10, 11, 12, when we were getting into the productivity and we were seeing such a shift of property taxes in the towns going down and
Yep.
ag property taxes going up, will we see a reversion of that shift now? Will the actual
It's
amount?
certainly
what-
not gonna come all the way back.
No, I know that, but this point, the 3%,
Yep. We'll see it
when
shift
those
back a
folks
little
come
bit.
in, will they be paying less per parcel, in general?
In general,
Or is there another factor that's gonna keep
no,
it where
I think you're gonna start to see taxes come down a little bit coming up here. I mean, right now, there's about $4.5 billion worth of value in the county. It's almost split. About 45% of that, I would say, is probably ag value, 55% non-ag value. When this started, there was about $2.5 billion worth of value in the county. About a little less than $1 billion, probably about $800 million was ag, the rest being non-ag. So when it started, we were about 25% of our value was ag, and right now about 45% of our value is ag. So, you know, has been a considerable shift in Brown County over the last 10 years. It is gonna come back a little bit. I'm not gonna say to what amount, but it's certainly not, you know, gonna go back to where it is or where it was.
But it won't go up. You can't say that either.
We'll see where things land.
I just like to get people prepared when they come in and do their tax returns, because, you know, you hear that and it sounds like good news, but there's so many other factors involved.
There's
that
so many other
we
factors.
might still be paying more.
And over the next few years, our non-ag is going to carry a little bit more than we had in the past. But, you know, for the last 10 years, we've seen ag go up quite a bit, and in a lot of cases, non-ag kind of either staying stagnant in their actual tax bill, or actually even see them come down a little bit here and there. So I do think we're starting to see both maybe creep up kind of simultaneously once those 3 years come on. But yeah, it'll bring the shift back and even it up a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
But I think just within the ag land itself, with a roughly 3% reduction in the cropland and 3% increase on grassland, there's going to be a little bit of a shift there too.
Going to be a little bit, yep.
The grass guys will pay a little more.
Yep.
And I mean, percentage-wise, the crop guys will pay a
There'll be
little bit less.
a little shift just within ag itself.
Right.
And again, looking at the new tables coming in, the grassland again looks like it's a place where we seem to have a problem. When I look at Brown County, we were one of the pilot counties, and I see that cropland is probably going to stay where it was, or it looks like it, like I said, kind of justifies my adjustments. Grassland looks like we need to take a hard look at it and see what's going to happen with that. It's the new tables look like grassland's going to take a little bit of a brunt of it. They are going to give us a couple of years to work on how we're going to clunk through that in Brown County and see where we can go with that, or let us tweak it, or kind of work with them. It sounds like we are going to have a little better relation with revenue going forward here than we have had in the past. Non-ag, our current level of assessment according to our audit was at 82.6%. That's pretty close to where I thought it was. Here again, we'll know that a little bit more when our audit is completed and we get some numbers back from them. There's 659 good non-ag sales 626 good non-ag sales in 2019. We had 659 across the county in 2018, so just a few less sales, but it's pretty close. Of those 626 good arm's length sales, 451 are residential sales in the city of Aberdeen. So that in itself kind of, demonstrates where the city of Aberdeen definitely carries most of our statistical weight, just houses, residential properties in Aberdeen. A little graph here showing that we started in the city of Aberdeen November, December, January, February, running pretty close to about 86, 87, 88% of race or assessment to sales ratio. By the end of the year, we were getting down 78, 80% of assessment to sales ratio, indicating that we had a lot stronger market as the year went on, a lot stronger than I'd probably anticipated. Probably should have set it just a smidge higher last year, because as the year went on, we started falling below the 85% that we want to be at. That said, our non-ag property in Aberdeen is going to take some, and across the county, but Aberdeen is where most of our data comes from, is going to see some increases. We're going to try to not increase anything more than about 5-6%. That should kick us back up to, we're hoping about an 88.5% median to begin with, and if the market holds steady, we could probably stay there all year. Like I said, probably got to be a little bit stronger market as the year went on than I anticipated, and as I followed through month by month, it shows that statistically. Small acreages, doing some reappraisal work there. It's up close to Aberdeen again, where we're going to take a look at pretty good, or have taken a look at, and probably going to see some changes. We're going to change some farmhouses as we get in closer to town again. Not all the way across the county. We're going to actually kind of put those together with the non-ag areas that they're involved in. In years past, we've had the same market factor for farmhouses all across the county, and we are going to kind of not assess them as high as non-ag houses, but because farmhouses carry absolutely no weight in any of our sales ratio because they're on ag land, which is not done with sales. But here again, like we ran into last year, if you raise non-ag houses but don't raise farmhouses, you have some equalization issues with neighbors down the road. So we're gonna do a few little things with farmhouses in close to town, Lincoln Town, Aberdeen Township, some of the townships that border Aberdeen Township. Lake properties we're going to leave alone. We are going to touch Mina Lake just a little bit. We don't have very much Mina in our county, but talking with the Edmonds County Director, they're going to do some changes over there, and we're going to try to keep ours close to what theirs is. Here again, that you don't want to have their folks saying, yeah, our lake went up, but the other across the road didn't. We've run into that issue before. Small towns, I always got trouble with small towns. There's not very many sales to work with. Old houses don't sell very good. Our newer, updated houses, we're kind of seeing they're going a little sideways on us. Been through small towns pretty recently, but like I said, being there's so few sales in there, they don't carry a lot of weight. So if we do have some issues, they don't hurt us too bad, but they still have to be equalized, and I do know our top end of our small towns has some work to do. Commercial property, we're doing some reappraisal work, and I will let Russell talk about that. That is his project. Kind of heads that up, and yeah, I'm jumping around.
Yeah. So we're continuing the reappraisal project within commercial properties throughout the county. We've been having to pretty well start from scratch, entering our data into our DevNet CAMA. That goes from sketches to pictures to desktop reviews and physical inspections. We were at about 60% of all taxable commercial properties were entered into DevNet last year. We got it up to about 80% now. So got about 20% a year is where we've been able to get in, throughout the summer and the fall. So I'm hoping to get everything in by this time next year is what the goal is. I don't know if Gene touched on it yet, maybe he's probably gonna hear it a little bit, but we're gonna try and update our cost handbook for next year, so we're current with that. As far as adjustments, we're kind of taking them as far as we find them, physical amenities that maybe we missed prior or anything else, we're making adjustments for all that. And I think that's pretty well where we're at with commercial. I'm gonna keep plugging it in. And once we get it all in, we'll be able to do a lot more analysis on it to equalize that across the county. So,
Yeah. Right now, commercial property is kind of being reappraised on an occupancy basis. It's a big project. You're looking at, occupancies from being retail to office to, C-stores on up to 3M, AGP. There's a big variety of commercial stuff. I think he's started with like apartments, residential, or not apartment, commercial, residential, retail. Some of the stuff that we have some more common sales with, and some of the big projects are going to be big projects. Going to take some communication with the property owners themselves to kind of get that up and running. And I think once that's all in, I think we'll start doing some hard tweaking on some things overall. We're looking at land values and some things like that we're kind of gradually moving now, but probably by this time next year, or for sure this time the year after, it's probably going to have some pretty solid numbers you're going to be looking at.
And actually, land in the city of Aberdeen for commercial is pretty good. It's equalized, I think, amongst, your high traffic areas and everything, but it could still probably see an increase, see it in line, but until we get all the other stuff in and analyzed, it's hard to really just push land when, 95% of them are improved properties, so we don't want to overstep on the land. You're talking like high traffic, like Highway 12 and stuff like that.
As far as what's coming up, projects, 2020, we pretty much got everything decided that we're going to do. We have to submit intentions report to the Department of Revenue. That's going to be pretty similar, some harder numbers than what I give you right now, but we'll have pretty good numbers here within the next month to give to them to give us the equalization factor. I'm thinking that when we're done, we'll have an equalization or a sales to assessment ratio of around 88.5%. Expecting an equalization factor of somewhere around 0.96, 965, something like that. Typically, when this started, I was hoping we could try to move stuff up to about a 90% ratio, but over a few steps or a few years. I was kind of hoping we'd end this year a little higher than we did, because I was hoping to push maybe up to 90 this year. Last year we pushed up to 88.5, and I was hoping we wouldn't fall all the way to 82. I was hoping we'd fall to maybe 85, and I could push 88 to maybe 90 next year. But if we fell to 82, I'm only going to go back to 88 again, because I don't want the big increase all at one time. So one of these years we're going to slow down enough that I can make a little smaller adjustment and still increase where we're going.
But in the end, the state will bring it to 85%.
In the end, no matter where we're at, the state will bring us to 85.
85 regardless.
Yep.
But it's a whole lot easier for you, if you're a little bit above that 85, to bring it down than to have you at 80 or 82 and have the state have to bring us all up.
Or either bring us up or make us have to make that up in the levy.
Yeah.
Schools could never be short, so what do you do if you aren't up to where you're supposed to be on local effort?
Right.
You don't get that supplement from the state. It has to be made up through a county levy some way. So either way, the schools are going to get 85% of that value, whether it's through an equalization value or through an increased levy up and above local effort. So our office is obligated to be safely above 88 or 85 median so that, you know, we don't run into those issues with revenue. Assessment plan going forward, 2021, he mentioned hopefully we have all of our commercial stuff into the DevNet system. We want to run 2021 non-ag property out of a updated current Marshall Swift cost manual. Right now we're running out of 2012 cost manual and are kind of trending it up. That works. You can get to where you're going. What you end up doing is raising things by a percentage, but the deal is if you take old cost manual versus new cost manual, the amenities within the cost manual aren't necessarily a straight percentage increase. You know, shingles might be 10% higher than they were, yet siding might be 5%, but you're raising everything the same percentage. You don't get a real accurate trend, whereas if you have a current cost, you start from a better place. So the closer we are to current, the better we are. And we are getting to a point where our non-ag manual is getting to be 8 years old already right now that we're working out of. So 2021's assessment, and that's looking forward again, we're probably going to see some more drastic shifts here and there, up, down, wherever, depending on where the new manual's from. We're supposed to get our ag tables this summer to allow us to analyze, see where our adjustments match, how our old tables match up to our old tables, how our old tables with adjustments match up to our new tables, and kind of give us a chance to take a look at it a little bit. If that's the case, they would expect us to implement the new tables beginning of the 2022 assessment year. So we're going to spend some time turning 169 soils into 292 soils. There's going to be some recounts and pretty close work with GIS and some things like that. But we'll be, and the case for when those 2022 assessments go out, we'll probably hear from our local equalization boards again, because we're kind of starting from scratch. And that's another thing, you know, we've worked real well with our local boards for the last 10 years to adjust the old tables, and all of a sudden in 2022 we're going to throw in some new tables and kind of start all over again. And I hear from them all the time that we've just done this, but we're going to send them down that road one more time in another year. Those are going to be the two major projects over the next 2 summers. 2022, 2023, I imagine the new soil tables and things are going to generate their own projects those years as we get going. And otherwise, we're just going to keep on plugging away. We do market analysis every year, new construction every year, and kind of go from there.
Good report.
Thank you. I will have our intentions ready to go to revenue supposed to be by the second week of January. They got to go through 66 of them, so we're the first one in or the last one in, and whatever. But this is pretty concrete as to what we're going to send them in as far as what our intentions are going to be for 2020 assessment year.
So are you at the point that you need since it's preliminary, do you need an approval on that, or are you coming back to us a little bit later with
Nope, I'm not going to come back to you. I would be nice if I got a preliminary, you recognize that you heard it, so that it's not, you know, it's fully disclosed what's coming out and things like that. That's kind of cool. Approve, if you want to say, yeah, it's a good report, you approve it, send it on the way, that'd be okay, but at least I'd like a recognition that is reported, you're aware of what's happening.
We'll acknowledge the report.
I'll
second it. We have a motion, Kipley, second by Bikert, to authorize acknowledgement of the 2020 assessment plan by our equalization department. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Fiker?
Aye.
Sutton is absent. Commissioner Weiss?
Break it up, but it's for Commissioner Weiss to accept the report, aye.
Kipling?
Aye.
Feldheim?
Aye.
Your report's accepted.
Good to go?
Well done, Gene.
Thank you, Jane, appreciate it.
You bet, thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have Tricia Kendall, Dakota Prairie Museum Director, discuss the granary.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Merry Christmas Eve.
So what's the news, Patricia?
Oh, it's good news.
All for good. Yeah, that's my goal. All right. Look at my, yes, I came with copies. All right. So I'm here today to request a resolution to gift the Granary Roll Cultural Center to the Dakota Prairie Museum Foundation. I have spoken with Commissioner Sutton. I've spoken to Ross from the State's Attorney's Office, kind of laid out a plan of what needs to be done. And the first step now to get the process going through the county is to request a resolution. And then it's my understanding that then there will be a public notice, or notices, and then a public hearing for that, in order that to go through. So,
Is there a draft resolution in place, or I would move it?
well, the resolution will come at the very end. We'll have to notice the hearings, and then it'll be approved by resolution, just like we did with the Edwards Preserve, the exact same process. So what she's asking for, I guess, is to probably authorize advertising for a public hearing on the transfer of the granary to the
I
foundation.
would move that.
Second.
We have a motion by Pikert, a second by Kipley to authorize advertising the granary to the Museum Foundation.
Dakota Prairie Museum Foundation,
Okay.
which is a 501(c) nonprofit established in 1985. Do you have a draft notice? I can come up with a draft notice. Or did Ross draft anything? Because we're going to need the legal descriptions of the property transfers. And now, we won't even publish this until the 8th. One of our newspapers is not publishing over the holidays. They're taking a break. So that gives us a little time to get this together. I will ask Ross, and by the way, Ross and Dwayne have been excellent help in this process. I've learned a lot. Municipal governance.
Well, I appreciate you doing all the work and working with them to get this done, because I think,
Sure.
you know, everybody likes the granary, but due to its vicinity, and it's just been a real tough thing for the county to
It's really staffing and resources, but it in no way diminishes the cultural significance or that dedicated vision that John C. had of, you know, an art oasis on the prairie. It's and I think the museum has made an honorable and a good faith effort to make it work. I think we really did. I have staff who put their all into it. They honestly did for 8 years. So we did our best. And also I just want to acknowledge too the generosity of the C family. I mean that was very generous, and you know, their vision was true for what they wanted to accomplish.
So have you spoke with the foundation board? Is their intention then to
Yes.
gift it then to the family, or are they going to try to run it themselves, or?
The intention is to then gift it back to the family, which would then put it back on the tax roll. Yeah. So it would go back to that. And I do have a copy of the letter, and I also have the original. It's from the foundation president saying that, yes, if it is gifted, that they would accept it, so that you can be assured that if you do this process, this is wanted, and the process would be acceptable to them. So if you'd like a copy of that, I can.
I'd like to see that.
Yep, thanks, God.
Thanks.
And then also I have their request
for motion and for approval, and all of the approvals of all of the current foundation members. I have copies of that too, if you need that. And then it was recorded in our official board minutes then too.
Well, and I think it's also important to note, you know, you'd mentioned the generosity of the Fee family for sure,
Yes.
but also the county. I mean, that property is in much better shape than it was when we received it. I believe you guys did a roofing project, there's a kitchen in there,
The kitchen didn't happen, but we tried. But we did a lot of painting. We did a lot of maintenance, just, you know, that general upkeep. But when you come into a gallery, you expect certain condition, and we did do that. Cleaning, tree trimming, both hiring and doing it ourselves, clearing paths. The staff did it all.
So I just want to reiterate what you were saying about the 8 years of effort that you guys have put in it, because it's much better shape than when we first received it. So it's not like we're giving it in a worse form. It's much better.
I do feel good about the condition the current condition that it's in. And the family does as well. Their appreciation is there as well.
So I had a motion and a second, roll call vote to authorize the publication of the transfer of the Granary back to the Dakota Prairie Museum Foundation.
Yeah, for the roll call vote, Commissioner Fikert.
Aye.
Sutton is absent. Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley.
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
All right, we'll start the hearing process.
Thank you, and I'll get that legal notice written up from Ross. And is there anything else that you need from me?
Just send me that notice and I'll get it to the papers.
Let me know if you need any other documentation.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tricia. Appreciate your work on it.
Kathy, do you have the notice that was preserved that you used?
Yeah.
Could you try to remember to email that to Ross, because I know he's going to ask for...
Oh, yeah, or if she just gets me the legal, I can just write the notice. I'll use the Edwards notice.
Merry Christmas.
Great. Merry Christmas. Have a great
Merry
holiday.
Christmas, you too.
All
Anything
right.
else? That's our agenda items. Anything else come before the commission?
Well, we have our,
I was just checking, to make sure
oh,
before we
sure.
do that, in case somebody has an exec or anything like that, is all I was looking for.
I don't need one.
Okay.
I have some stuff to go into exec, otherwise I can leave. Nothing big.
Want to say that, or do you want to go?
Let's just do this a minute, and we'll,
and we're going to group some of these items. We will approve the general meeting minutes from December, claims and payroll, the auditor's report of accounts, and the lottery application.
so move.
Second.
Moved by Fikert, second by Kipley, to approve the general meetings from December 17, claims and payroll, auditor's report of accounts, lottery applications. Is that what you had stated? Roll
So,
call vote?
yep, Commissioner Fikert.
Aye.
Sutton is absent. Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley.
Point of clarity, did you say it was claims and say the things again?
The minutes, claims and payroll, auditor's report of accounts, and the lottery
Okay,
application.
aye.
Aye.
All right, those items are approved. The HR report,
I think we might want to wait on pieces of that. I would take out, offer an amendment to take out the increases in salary, which we haven't really discussed as a board, for the equalization department, and move to approve it with that amendment.
Second, Weiss.
What was that, Mike?
He said second.
Oh,
I'll second that motion.
okay.
okay.
And I think we'll put that on the HR report for next Tuesday.
Agreed.
Just write that down.
So we have a motion by Kipley, a second by Weiss, to approve the HR report with the exception of the assessor's request to be put on the December 31st, Tuesday, December 31st agenda.
I think there were 3 items.
Yes.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Feickert,
Aye.
Sutton is absent, Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley,
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
All right, HR report is passed. We have plats.
Move them.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Feiker, to approve the plats. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Feickert,
Aye.
Sutton is absent, Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley,
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
The Centennial Village contract, did anybody have anything on that this week?
We had some concerns on, can we wait, because I think they're coming in maybe next week.
Yeah, they're coming
So why
in.
don't we wait, if nobody minds, and do it when they come in in case there's other questions? My questions just
No, that sounds-
arose from some of the items that were in there that I don't know that we've been provided, and it's fairly new contract, so.
The solid waste fees, there's no changes to the solid waste fees, we just have to adopt them for 2020.
Move it.
Second, but I've got a question. I think it was on the approval of the solid waste fees, there was Fishback had made the motion.
That's the resolution.
Okay.
I couldn't change those yet because I don't know who's gonna move and second it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I just used last year's resolution template.
No problem. Guess I didn't quite understand that part of it either.
I moved, he seconded.
Moved by Kipley, second by Feiker, to approve the solid waste fees as unchanged from last year.
Yep, same fee.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Feickert.
Aye.
Sutton is absent, Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley,
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
Solid waste resolutions adopted. That's everything on our consent calendar.
Anything else before we go into an exec? What's the exec for?
I don't need one. I mean, I have stuff, I always have stuff I can update you on, but I don't need one. The only thing I would tell you is the letter that you had asked I send to the city about the sidewalk extension. I sent it, it's for the request is for the east side of South Congress Street where we own the property, the county owns the property by the BMX track. The property that was sold to the private individual, I can't remember who, the mill and building, they'll have to do that themselves. I talked to Ron Way. He said he thinks that they haven't worked out with that person anyways, that the sidewalk's going to be built. So we made our exemption request, and they will, once the weather clears up, take pictures of it and get it in front of the city council at some point. So that's all we can ask for.
Okay.
Oh, so there was two. He has to do his own sidewalk, and we're in charge of doing a sidewalk.
The east side of South Congress where it dead ends.
Okay. Runs into that BMX building.
Yep, is the county, and then the west side is the private individual.
Oh, okay.
So there would have been two sidewalks. The one that makes the least sense is luckily on the county side, because it would be where you would drive into the parking lot, you'd be crossing a sidewalk. So it would be all parking spots where you're crossing the sidewalk. So it'll be a lot. So I was gonna I have a copy of that letter, I was just gonna give it back since it's Doug's name on the, I don't know if he wants to keep it.
Or we can keep it on file in our office.
Just have the whole packet of emails and everything.
Okay.
Anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? Pardon me?
Thank you all for allowing me to participate by phone today. I appreciate it.
Just a minute, Mike. We got what?
Do you want me to do personnel?
Do you have some stuff?
Yes.
Okay, motion for exec for personnel.
Second.
We have a motion by Kipley, a second by Biker to go into exec for personnel.
I might as well add, proposed or pending litigation so I can update you on it.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll make it quick.
I will see.
There again, we're
But
going
we
to
might
have a
not.
roll call vote.
Yeah,
Question.
roll call vote to go into exec. Commissioner Feickert,
Aye.
Commissioner Sutton is absent, Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Kipley,
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye.
All right.
We are in exec for personnel and legal and contracts, not contracts, legal. We are out of exec, no action as a result.
You want to make that motion, Mike?
Certainly, motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
Motion by Weiss, second by Kifley to adjourn. All in favor, roll call.
Pfeiffer.
Aye.
Commissioner Sutton is absent. Commissioner Weiss.
Aye, Merry Christmas.
Commissioner Kifley.
Aye.
Commissioner Feldheim.
Aye. We are adjourned.